I got a job as a security guard at a remote shopping mall. I found a strange set of rules in the employee manual. I had been searching for a job for quite a while. My parents were getting sick of me and they really wanted me to move out. About a week ago I found the perfect job. It paid pretty well and all I had to do was watch a camera feed and check on other guards every once in a while. I'm a night owl as well, so the night shift was perfect for me. I could read books, play games, scroll through social media and basically do whatever I wanted as long as I did routine checks of the mall. Much of the system was automated and there were alarms everywhere, so I needed to pay little attention really. What surprised me was how much they were paying for the job. $65 per hour. I knew it was way too much for such a position. It seemed like a prank when I first saw the Facebook ad. Even the website seemed fake. Who names their security business entity Security Services? Other than the name of the business and the wage, everything seemed pretty legit and so I applied for it. A couple of days later, I got a call from them. They took a basic interview from me over the phone and they also asked about my health and physical fitness level. The last question they asked seemed a bit out there but then also fit the position I was applying for. Are you able to work efficiently in stressful and life-threatening situations? I kind of paused at that one. The interviewer asked the question in such a serious tone. I was lost in my head for a moment before the interviewer brought me back to the call with a hello? Nudge. Yes, I believe I can handle possible scenarios that may occur at the mall. I wasn't so sure about my response but I really didn't want to turn down such a good offer. What are the chances of the mall getting robbed by an armed gang anyways? The interviewer told me I'll get a response in a couple of days and hung up. Fast forward the next day, I got a call from the company again and they told me I was chosen for the position. My first shift would have been the next night. It was a cold rainy night. The rain relentlessly poured down on my windscreen as my wipers struggled to wipe it away. I shivered. I turned the heaters up all the way. The road was dark and the only source of light were my headlights. Even the moon had been covered by the thick rain clouds. I was nearly there. I was super excited for my first shift but also a touch nervous. The mall was a 30-minute drive from my house and was in a remote location. The location of the mall made me slightly uneasy. My uneasiness increased when I arrived at the mall. It was an old dark building. I navigated to the parking lot and zipped up my jacket as I stepped out of the car. I felt extremely vulnerable in the empty vast parking lot. There was forest on either side of me and the only road that led to here was the single big road that I used to drive here. I saw a couple of other cars in the parking lot as well. They were probably the other security guards. I ran to the mall entrance. The inside of the mall was just like the outside. Surely no one visited this mall. I spotted a couple of other people and started walking towards them. They all turned in my direction when they heard my footsteps on the marble floor. They introduced themselves as the other security guards. They were Andy. He seemed pretty excited for the job and wasn't nervous at all. He has worked in other remote locations too and really likes night guard jobs. Marcus. He was a bit fidgety like me as this was his first job. Dylan. He was the introverted one out of all of us. He was quiet and shy and really only gave his name. We all waited for a manager or someone to arrive but no one came. It was well past our starting time of 10 p.m. We decided to start our jobs when it was confirmed no one was going to turn up to tell us what to do. I made my way to the security room while the others took up their jobs. I felt pretty bad for Andy who had to stand at the entrance, but he was getting paid double my wage. I got myself comfortable in the security room and scanned the 20 camera screens across the wall. I looked around in the room for some kind of manual on how to operate the systems and what everything meant. I wanted to do good on my first shift. As I picked up the tattered employee manual, a sheet of paper fell out of it. I picked up the small sheet of paper. I'll transcribe what it said here. Essential rules for employee safety on the premises. These rules must be followed under any circumstances. These rules are only for the security room employee. Other employees will get a similar set of rules. Failure to follow these rules will result in injury or loss of life. Do not exit the security room, unless it is time for your routine check. Rule 2. No matter what you see or hear, you must not leave the room. Walk around the whole mall every hour. Your walk should not take any longer than 15 minutes. If you do find yourself still outside after 15 minutes, take shelter in one of the stores. If you get a call on the phone in the security room, pick it up. If it is one of the employees that you met earlier, continue talking. Otherwise hang up quickly. If someone starts knocking on the door, hide in the toilet and lock the door until the knocking stops. Do not open the door under any circumstances. During your routine checks, if you hear crying or laughter, immediately run back to the security room. If you see a black figure on the cameras or during the routine checks, close your eyes immediately and turn around a corner. If you can't turn around a corner, keep your eyes closed and walk to the nearest store. If there is no store next to you or if you see the figure on the cameras, lie down, count to 360 and then open your eyes. You may see any sort of entity or disturbing occurrence on camera 9. You will be alerted to it by a high-pitched beep. As soon as you hear the beep, stare at the camera without looking away until it turns off by itself. You may see extremely disturbing things on camera, but you must not look away. Towards the end of your shift, you may start feeling sleepy. It could be natural, but as a precaution, resist the urge to lie down and close your eyes no matter how strong it is. Keep this sheet of paper with you. You'll need it to access Rule 10. It seemed like a prank on the new employee. I was about to throw away the sheet when I heard a high-pitched beep. Story to be continued. Knock first. It was a dark and stormy night, or at least, that's how these stories always seem to start. Except, it wasn't. It was humid and muggy as hell on the height of summer in Texas. And damn it, it wasn't even dark because there was a half moon, even if the mosquitoes did their best to smother whatever light was produced. God, I hate Texas. Everyone fancied themselves as some sort of cowboy, like it was their Lone Star birthright, even if the closest they would ever come to a steer was by buying a select steak at some heb, and the closest they would come to a horse was by acting like an ass to whichever poor cashier was ringing them up. And I didn't even have the misfortune of living in the country part of Texas. No, I was in Corpus Christi, where the ocean water was warm and the tap water undrinkable. Although it didn't matter much because all the residents drink is shitty beer. Anyway, as I was saying, it was a fucking hot, sweaty, dimly lit night in dumb old Texas. I had had a few shitty beers and was enjoying the buzz as I watched Jeepers Creepers 2 for the millionth time. As usual, Emmy, my faithfully useless old Boston Terrier, was the only one keeping me company. I was giving excellent, slightly intoxicated commentary while Emmy occasionally woofed rhythmically in her sleep to let me know that she certainly wasn't listening. That's life. The end credits rolled as I contemplated falling asleep on the couch, but I ultimately decided against it when I convinced myself that maybe I have some dignity. This was the moment I realized I was drunk. I stumbled to the bedroom as Emmy lagged behind. She never wanted to seem desperate. I gracefully face planted my pillow with full force, my limbs sprawling everywhere to claim valuable sleeping territory. Emmy was fashionably late, but settled her length right along my rib cage, kicking occasionally to assert dominance or something. I don't know, I'm not the dog whisperer. We lay there silently, the only sound coming from the whirring fan overhead. I checked my phone, 3:27 a.m. I closed my eyes, breathing slowly as I prepared to fall asleep. The sound of knocking echoed throughout my room, startling me awake. The front door. Yeah, there is no way in fucking hell I'm answering that. For starters, my bed is comfy and walking in a straight line is currently difficult. And another thing, I've seen enough horror movies to know that the odds of it being a traveling axe murderer are too fucking high for comfort. No thanks. Try the next apartment over, I joke as I drunkenly drift off to sleep. Probably some dumb neighbor's confused booty call. Keeping it classy, Corpus. It echoes louder this time. The knocking on the front door. It's 3 a.m. in the goddamn motherfucking morning and some asshole is knocking on my door when he should be minding his own fucking business. Motherfucking piece of shit and considerate cunt. I continue grumbling various profanities and curses as I stomp towards the front door, the residual alcohol making me bold, aka stupid. Emmy doesn't get up, like I said, useless. I grab Betsy, my trusty metal baseball bat, as I round the corner to the entryway thinking it better be a fucking axe murderer because he's going to need a weapon when I get to him. I rein it in before I turn the doorknob, my irrational side convincing me to look through the peephole before facing certain death. Nothing. No one. Empty space where a person could have been. I don't like it. I feel uneasy. Or maybe nauseous because I'm still drunk. I don't know. I double check that the door is fully locked. It is. I slowly walk back to my room. Emmy hasn't moved. Useless. I sit down on the bed, Betsy laying carefully across my lap. I don't feel like sleeping as I strain my eyes to check every corner of the dimly lit room. Only shadows. Empty space. And silence. The doorbell rings. It's one of those old-timey doorbells with the chimes and melody that seem to go on forever. The kind where you could almost walk all the way across the house to answer the door before it's done. Except I don't have a doorbell. I leap up to slam my bedroom door as fast as I can, my body pressing against the frame as I will my shaking hands to engage the lock. Emmy is up in a flash, too, hackles raised and howling in that ridiculous bay that she does as she charges forward toward the door. The chimes turn into this incessant staccato rhythm like someone was repeatedly ringing the bell without letting the melody finish, booming throughout the apartment. I can feel my heart pounding in my chest as I force myself to take at least short, panting breaths. I rush back to the bed to grab my phone to dial 911, but I can't fucking find it. I rip the sheets away and throw the pillows across the room. It must have fallen behind the bed but it's dark and I'm panicked and I can't find it. The ringing abruptly stops. Emmy is still barking, her eyes wide in fear. Her body lurches forward slightly with each sound she makes, but quickly sinks back again on her haunches. We both want to run away. But I'm afraid to move. Afraid to breathe. Afraid of what comes next. The knocking echoes out again. I involuntarily flinch, fear priming my body for anything. Except nothing could prepare me for this. The knocking was coming from the closet door. I reflexively throw Betsy at the closet with all of the strength my adrenaline rush could muster. Simultaneously, I sprint towards Emmy, hiking her as I turn and barrel towards the only bedroom window. The bat crashes into the closet door and I'm too terrified to consider the implications of throwing away my only weapon. A smarter person may have unlocked the bedroom door to then escape through the apartment, but my panicked mind could only think of the phantom doorbell ringing from outside that door. I wasn't going out there. No way. I crash into the window, but of course it never breaks like it does in the movies. I quickly throw my weight into pushing the window pane up and kicking the screen out when I hear the hinges on the closet door squeak as they begin to open. Someone chuckles. Knock knock, it's just a whisper, but they may as well have been screaming. I dive through the window with Emmy, thankful that I live on the first floor. We hit the ground hard but I'm up and running faster than I have ever run before. I don't bother to stop and knock on my neighbors' doors for help. They're not going to answer, I certainly didn't. I sprint through the complex and out the front gates. I don't stop running until I get to a convenience store about a mile down the road. I'm sweaty, out of breath, and trying not to vomit both from the fear and exertion. I'm too panicked to talk, but the clerk had the good sense to call the cops. The police searched my apartment, but they never found anything. Why would they? I didn't see anything, either. But I didn't look. I didn't want to see a person where empty space should have been. Later, I learned that 1,000 miles away, my sister received 19 missed calls from me. No voicemails. Just a string of text messages. Knock knock. Knock knock. Answer me. Who's there? No one. No one who. No one who opens the door lives.